Yeah. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Wim Lou. This is the Raptors Reaction Podcast brought to you by Betway for all your sports betting activities. Hit the QR code that you see here on the screen. Follow the link that you see in the description of every episode here. Raptors lose 125-71 on New Year's Eve as 2024 rounds out with yet another loss. Raptors had 20 wins and 60 plus losses in the calendar year of 2024, arguably, and I would say for most people, like the most unfortunate and horrific level of basketball that Raptor fans have seen, really. I mean, you got to be like for the majority of fans today. I know for a lot of fans, we've been around. There were times like this in the early 2000s. There were times like this, obviously, to begin the franchise's history, 95, 96, 97, basically before Vince got there. And I know for a lot of old heads, it's like, these young guys, like, they can't complain about today. You didn't see what I saw. Oh, they're seeing what you saw. They're seeing what you saw. This is a really tough one. Raptors set another franchise record. This is actually 3 straight games. The Raptors have set a franchise record now. 2 games ago, they set a franchise record for most points allowed in a game. That's 155 to Memphis. Last game against Atlanta, they set a franchise record for most turnovers at home with 31. And today, Raptors set a new franchise record for biggest losing margin in a game. They lost tonight, obviously, by 54 points. For people who are curious, the last time the Raptors set their record for futility in a game, the biggest loss previous to this was 48 points. That was earlier this year in April, actually. April 3rd, Raptors went to Minnesota and they lost by 48 points. And here we are some 30-ish games later, and Raptors have set that record once again. And of course, you go into Boston, already that's going to be an L. I know the last game in Boston was really exciting. That was really fun. But that's the anomaly. When the Raptors go to Boston these days, they just get completely owned. Like, this is on that level of, like, back in the day when, my memories of Raptors playing the Celtics was like Kevin Garnett getting on all fours like a dog and taunting Jose Calderon. That's actually less embarrassing than Jordan Walsh hitting a huge 3 as the broadcast desperately tries to promise that play-in will be possible next year. Which is a real thing that happened. I'll get to the broadcast in a bit because what else are you going to talk about in terms of the on-court product? You know what I mean? But yeah, like this is on par with sort of any sort of dark times that we've seen. And of course, like you go into Boston, right? RJ Barrett, we knew at practice yesterday. We found out at practice that he continues to be ill. He returned for a couple of games, but he's clearly suffering from something. So he ends up missing this game, doesn't travel with the team. Okay, so hopefully if RJ get well soon, because there is a game tomorrow somehow that nobody asked for. The Raptors then added Grady Dick to the injury report. He had a hamstring issue. He's been playing really poorly recently as well, which has really contributed to the Raptors slide. So it turns out he's a little banged up. They've given him the night off. Honestly, a bit of mercy in that, you know what I mean? Like, just, clearly, whether you had Grady Dick or not, it wouldn't have made any difference. But in any case, Grady's out as well. And so what you ended up here is with a defensive group. That's the best way to describe it. A defensive group for the Raptors that included Scottie Barnes, Jakob Poeltl, Davion Mitchell, Ochai Agbaji, and Jacoby Walter in your starting 5, as your starting 5. And yeah, I mean, defensively, they gave effort. Boston missed a whole bunch of threes to start the game. Raptors are also missing every 3 in return. So it was just like a clear, like, if you're one of the people that like ratings are down because threes are up and they don't look good, this first quarter was, for anyone who didn't turn the TV off, I salute to you, right? Because like that was just an ugly affair. Of course, Boston eventually got it going. They have so many different scores, and of course, they weren't going to go scoreless from 3. They finished the game with 22 threes, actually shooting above 50%. So they actually missed their first like 8 threes, 9 threes, and they still shot 50% from 3, 22 of 43. So obviously they got the three going. They got obviously Tatum, they got Brown, they got all sorts of scores. I mean, even their bench features guys like Payton Pritchard, Sam Hauser nailing threes from out of bounds. Like it's truly truly impressive. On the Raptors side, 12 points in the first quarter. That's not a record. That's not a franchise record, but you never know. Every franchise record going the wrong way is actually endangered right now. We've already seen most points in a game, most turnovers in a game, and now biggest deficit ever sustained in a game. And yeah, I mean, obviously Raptors couldn't get it going from three. Boston, they learned their lessons from the last time they played Toronto. They were like Jakob Poeltl, who had put a hurting on them, had 30-plus points. We were calling him Shaka Poeltl at that time. Joe Mazzulla, after that game when the Raptors lost in overtime because Tatum hit that game-winning three, Joe Mazzulla afterwards, unprompted, as he was walking off the podium, said that Jakob Poeltl, he's got to be one of the greatest players in our league. And the next game, he gives him that respect. I've never seen Jakob Poeltl get so many double teams in the post. Bro, anytime Jakob touched the ball in the post, Celtics swarmed him. It was like watching Raptors playing Embiid back in the day. It was like watching teams like guarding Shaq back in the day. They were literally guarding him like he was Jakob Poeltl. And they were obviously very insistent on taking away Jakob. And honestly, why not? Because who else was really going to hurt him, right? They took away all the three-point lanes. Obviously, they were happy to give away threes to pretty much anybody on the Raptors roster. And, I think that that led to some difficult times. If we're going to be real about it, obviously, like the Raptors, they fought hard defensively, but once Boston started getting going offensively, you're not going to stop them. Raptors did contest a fair number of those threes. They made them. That's what talent looks like. But at the same time, it's hard not to talk about Scottie in these instances because at the end of the day, this is the curse that comes with, what happens when you're the franchise player, right? Like, and of course, like the Raptors obviously have put Scottie in this position where everything is on him. He is the franchise guy. They've given him all the plaudits that you can do outside of giving him like the best possible teammates. Obviously, they're working on that. Right now, they're giving him some of the worst possible teammates, but still, they are obviously like, it's cleared out, right? Like they have cleared out as much as possible. Actually, I don't remember another time in franchise history, in my time as a Raptor fan, where they have cleared out so firmly. This is our franchise guy. This is the guy we're going from. Everyone from like start of the season, it's, let's talk about everything is narratively is driven towards him. The coach comes to his defense at every given moment. Again, these are things that the organization has obviously moved on from a championship, like the last remnants of a championship core, which obviously wasn't going to bring you another championship, but they still moved on from those people so that they can sort of put him here as the franchise guy. Even when you look at something like all-star voting, right? Like if you go to the arena during a, first quarter, second quarter, break, during a timeout in the arena, obviously they're not showing you ads. They will show you a QR code and they'll bring a whole prompt for the whole arena to go try to scan that QR code and vote, right? So, and then obviously not doing this for anybody else on the roster. My point is they have cleared out everything possible to make this the direction of the team. And I don't think that like when you watch a game like this, he got a lot of help. To me, it feels like they've spiritually and, in terms of campaigning, have centered him, but when you watch a game like this, he seems so thoroughly overwhelmed that I feel almost like it's almost unfair. Now it's not unfair to be made the franchise player because, like, realistically, I mean, every player in the league would want to be featured in this type of way, right? Again, like when you go back to, I've been a Raptor fan for like 20 years now. Chris Bosh was not made the franchise player in this degree, right? Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, they weren't celebrated and like outwardly like anointed in this way, right? This is like a first for me, seeing this experience in 20 years. But at the same time, when you go out there and you watch him, and I think Scottie has been the guy giving the most effort. He's been trying his very best. He is racking his brain, he's trying to compete. Like this isn't, I think we've seen games, even much less so this season, but in previous seasons where it was like, he seems disconnected, whatever. I didn't think he was disconnected. I just think he was overwhelmed, man. Like Yeah, of course, like Boston was, throwing extra defensive attention at him. That's what happens when you're the all-star. That's what happens when you're the max player, all that kind of stuff, right? Um, but at the same time, I looked at this game and I was just like, I just don't think he has the answers, at least right now. Some of that is, of course, his teammates weren't playing great around him, but he also wasn't playing great, right? And when you keep seeing the process of like him running down the floor, taking a transition pull up three before any other offense has been run, before he's looked to attack the paint, maybe someone sagging off him. Honestly, teams would sag off him, right? He's shooting below 30% from three. So if he wants to shoot a three, Boston's more than happy to just go get the rebound. And tonight, 1 of 8 from three. In terms of him getting downhill, creating his own shot, very, very difficult right now for him to sort of like play pick and roll and get anywhere in the paint. Some of that obviously is the fact that, that they can sort of collapse and send multiple guys. But I think there's a key difference here, because you can always very easily make excuses for players in terms of like, well, his teammates weren't necessarily spacing out here, here, and here. That's fine. Honestly, like outside of basically Boston, like no team really has perfect spacing. Maybe honestly, maybe Cleveland these days. But for the most part, no team has perfect spacing. So the guys are going to get in each other's way. And obviously, it wasn't like, there were all these other guys to play off of. But I also think that like on a fundamental level, the franchise player is supposed to lift the level of the rest of the team, right? Like I got to say, like Kyle didn't play in perfect spacing. Kawhi, even in the championship year with all those great teammates, was not playing in ideal spacing. Pascal over the years, Fred, DeMar, before that, Bosch, right? Like that's just kind of what happens. Like it's kind of your job to sort of make it happen for the rest of the guys because you have more ability than the rest of the guys. Even early in the season when it was RJ, I think the last game when the Raptors went to Boston, and obviously Scottie was out for that one. It was RJ, it was Grady, it was Jakob. Those are the three guys really going at Boston, and they actually took the lead and actually made it a point where the Raptors had a chance to win it in regulation at the end. Remember, Jakob tried to go for the game winner, and there was an uncalled foul on Tatum. Then led to overtime, and whatever. Tatum hit the three after the travel, whatever. But again, like still very competitive game. That game, like RJ and Yak give you 70. Was there perfect spacing in that game? I highly doubt it because they're playing with the same guys, right? But yeah, I mean, a lot of that is like you do all the hard work, you get into the paint, you touch the paint, you draw 2, 3, 4 defenders, and then you use the passing to sort of set guys up. When I look at a game like this, I didn't quite see that. I saw Scottie getting set up by some of his teammates, which is good, or him getting a couple offensive rebounds and putbacks and sneaky buckets here or there. That was good. But I also see one free throw, right? One free throw attempt the whole game, and that was a technical free throw for what happened with the Celtics technical free throw. I don't even know, maybe defensive 3 seconds, but regardless, like it wasn't like an and one, right? Where he scored through, a foul and got the free throw. That is a technical free throw that is unrelated to sort of his play creation. And then also the 2 assists. And of course, I hear right now, nobody was hitting from three. Scottie did set guys up. They were fumbling. All that's true. I think the difficult part about being the franchise player is like, I think in previous seasons when it was, Fred and Pascal and obviously OG, Gary, and then Scottie around that, you could easily, and I have easily made the arguments that like should have turned to Scottie more. He was sort of not involved, and strategically you can tilt it more towards him. Right now, it's like I wasn't expecting a win, but you do want to see like, okay, maybe he goes blow for blow with somebody on the other Celtics team. Maybe he matches like a Jaylen Brown's level, and I know that's asking for a lot. Jaylen Brown obviously is a very, very good player, or like Tatum. You know what I mean? Like, okay, honestly, to anybody who's not a Raptor fan, that would sound like a little ridiculous to even ask for that. But still, like that's kind of like fundamentally what the idea is, what the goal is. And it just didn't feel like he was capable of it. Like yeah, a couple of mid-range jumpers here and there, but the threes, they're not dropping. I don't think he's a 1 of 8 from threes, 12%. I don't think he's a 12% 3-point shooter. I obviously think that like he's trying to self-create. It's just that he's trying to self-create, and you're not seeing it happen. And I don't really feel like it's like he's missing a shot here or there, or shots are going in and out here or there. I think there's just like a bit of a limitation, right? And so like if he's not making that overall overwhelming impact on the offensive end, who else was there? And obviously tonight, nobody else was there, right? Like your other creators and RJ, IQ, they're out. Grady's been a creator this season. He's been out. So like that really hurts. And of course, they're also double teaming Jakob. this is kind of what it looks like. The bottom kind of falls out. It's similar in a way in the Memphis game, and it was similar in a way in the Atlanta game as well. Those defenses obviously weren't as good as Boston's. Boston's defense is phenomenal, and a lot of that plays into this too. But this was also a situation where teams were also daring Scottie to shoot. They're sitting back, dropping under pick and rolls. Part of the reason pick and rolls don't go anywhere is they're dropping back, and maybe teams play drop against RJ if he plays pick and roll. Well, then he's done a really good job this season of using that drop to create a pocket alongside of Jakob, sliding him that pocket pass to Jakob from the floater, or RJ punching through that gap and going all the way to the basket and using his footwork, finishing in a variety of ways. That hasn't really been Scottie's game. Like, RJ has had probably like 15 games at least this season where he's driven the ball 15 to 20 times. I would need to look up how many times Scottie has driven the ball 15 times in this whole season. And of course, you can throw in the other things. And this is why the conversations at practice are really insightful, because, I was down there with Darko yesterday, obviously with the rest of the reporters, and a big subject has been, Scottie. Not the losing, obviously, as well, but, as it pertains to the future, obviously, Scottie. And he pointed out one thing to me was just like, we've been playing Scottie intentionally without a point guard. And he said, like, him and RJ have intentionally put in that point guard position this season. That's for development. And it's not just like a 1 or 2 practices thing. He's not going to become Magic Johnson overnight. And I appreciate that, because I think that's the other part is just there's a lot of like rush to dismiss anything with this team. Any sort of critique that's always brushed aside with like, well, they're tanking. Why are you focusing on this? They're tanking. I just don't want to go on a year and a half now throwing, games away. And even if you're throwing games away, there's, again, like, there is still a way to go about it. 3 straight games where the team is setting franchise records in the wrong way. 155 points, 31 turnovers, and now 54-point blowout. Like, there is still a way to do this. And I just feel like Scottie looks so overwhelmed right now. I feel like the coaching staff is kind of at their wits' end. Like, they're trying to do everything possible, right? Darko got the ejection. Then the next game, he gave them a extra long practice. Then last night, it was after the Hawks game where they didn't respond and lose by 30 at home. Scottie says it's unacceptable. Darko says it's unacceptable. Then they have another couple of off days. They kind of had like a get what you need kind of day. So it wasn't like he was running them 3 hours for practice or anything. It was more like a film session plus like shooting. So like, relatively light. But again, their schedule has been pretty heavy right now. Very few teams right now in the NBA are running 3-hour practices when they have 3 games in 4 nights. So I understand that. At the same time, very few teams are giving up 155. Then 31 turnovers, then 54-point blowout. So you can argue whichever way you want. But regardless, it feels like they're trying whatever, right? The over-the-top approach to the referees, that didn't really work. The long practices, that didn't work. Short practices, that's not working. Obviously the team's health is really in a bad place. That's the other part, too, that you can't necessarily see. But, there is an illness going around the team. And so, there's that portion. But I don't know how you're really going to look at a 54-point loss and not say that it's just not working flat out. After, the losing streak hits 11, that part doesn't even matter nearly as much to me. The Raptors are 1-15 away from home. This last season we tracked the stat of like, when are the Raptors going to finally get a win in the Atlantic Division? Because it was kind of like they went 0-12 to start the season. It took until March for them to beat the Brooklyn Nets. So that's when they got their first win in the Atlantic Division. I almost consider the Raptors winless on the road, because the one win they had was against the Pelicans, who were like, that was the Alfred Payton era Pelicans, where they were so banged up, they were signing guys off the street to play, and they beat that team. That doesn't even count. That really shouldn't count. Like, that is like, you just ran into the right team at the right time. As far as I'm concerned, the Raptors are 0-15 on the road. And, this is just really tough. And I want to hear your thoughts. But more importantly, I almost want to change the subject, because like, we could sit in this every day, and obviously I do the React Pod every day. I don't want to just repeat myself. And honestly, I'm in a pretty good mood. Like, I'm not really in a mood to be like, yelling at the team. Like, this is, eventually you get tired of it. Like, clearly it's not going to change anything. It's not really going to make anything other than just other people get upset too, and rile up a huge mob or whatever. I just don't want to do that, right? I want to show. I want to give just like a really quick thing on just each of the guys in terms of like what happened tonight, what they could do better, and then just pivot a little bit to the broadcast because I think tonight what stood out to me was the broadcast. But we'll get to the broadcast in a second. Yeah, for Scottie, I mean, I think working in the mid range, just I think fundamentally him playing the point guard position right now has just really looked bad. And I know Darko said yesterday, again, in a question that I asked him, he's like, well, this is the first time in their career they're being asked to play point guard. And I'm like, that's just not true. That is actually not true. Like when Fred got injured earlier in this in his career, Scottie would play point guard for those lineups. I was there. I covered months of those kind of teams. So this is not the first time he's played point guard. Also, in terms of like in college, he played point guard. In high school, he played point guard. Like this is, you know what I mean? Like, but okay, maybe like full-time point guard, nobody else sort of like even around. Okay, maybe. But in any case, the point guard thing is just if you're going to play point guard, you're going to need to find ways to touch the paint, draw multiple defenders, and set up guys or score. Like that's just how these big fundamental wings, right? Like if you want a big wing to play point guard, you need to see it look like LeBron. You need to see it look like Luka. Even Giannis to a lesser degree. Giannis doesn't even play point guard anymore, but like when Giannis plays point guard or when he did in the past, he's just getting to the paint over and over and over and over again, right? And, if you're not going to beat them with the outside shot, and clearly that's not something that Scottie's going to be able to do right now, 1 of 8 from 3, and this doesn't feel like it's like a fluke. It just feels like this is just based on, he just doesn't seem able to make these shots at a high enough clip right now. There's got to be other ways for him to get downhill. When he makes his impact, it's in the middle of the floor, and so yes, playing point guard could theoretically get you there, but if the handle's not strong enough or if the will isn't there to always go into the paint, then you might need to consider other options where other players play point guard. He's screening, he's rolling, or other players playing point guard. He sets up in the middle of the floor, he posts up, then you give him the ball. There's all sorts of different ways, right? Quite frankly, the last couple of games, in the moments where Scottie's looked successful offensively, he's played more like Pascal as a power forward. In the post, get the ball, turn around jumper, go to the basket, drop step, no help, lay up, maybe a spin move here and there. Like, that's kind of what's looked good for Scottie. What's looked bad is all the point play. You're not only seeing the bad three-point shooting, but you're seeing the turnovers. I mean, the amount of Shackton level plays is pretty bad. Like, just advancing the ball on the inbounds and he's throwing it off to the wrong guy, or it's bouncing off of Jakob's head, or in this one, he's holding the ball above, and he's waiting for a play to set up and somebody just jumps in from behind and steals the ball because he had it out here for like 10 minutes. It's like 6 turnovers tonight, 1 of 8. I just think that, like, I understand the point guard experiment. I understand you can rationalize anything this season with development, but, I mean, damn, even RJ looks better as a point guard right now. I got to say, when you compare in this team, in this context, 2 players playing the point guard position, RJ's done a better job playing point guard than Scottie has. Jakob, honestly, he got double teamed a lot, played a lot of defense, rebounding the ball. Again, there's not much else he can really do here. Obviously, on switches, he gets caught out, but Jakob, buddy, it sucks, and hopefully your groin's okay. Davion, there's a lot of plays where he just doesn't look to shoot. I mean, he also has struggled playing point guard, 5 turnovers tonight, only 4 shots. He didn't have the ball that much, but also when he had the ball, he just was never aggressive looking for it. It's just very, very hard to play any point guard if you're not looking to score. And the Raptors kind of had 2 of those issues in the starting lineup. Ochai, he has really hit a wall here. He mistimed his cut so many times. Whether that was the guy passing it to him or him making the cut. He also missed a couple of chances at the rim. I feel like fatigue might be hitting him in a hard way too, because this is not the Ochai that we saw at the start of the year. We know he could be a lot better than this. Defensively, I mean, look, he is a guy who plays defense relative to the rest of the Raptors, but Jaylen Brown's also walking him down to the basket and dunking on him. So, it's tough. Jacoby, very much a rookie game, 1 of 10, didn't really do anything well on either end. I know he flipped the defender once or twice coming up past half court. That's not enough for 22 minutes. Obviously, Jacoby just looked really overwhelmed in this one. He's been out the last couple games too, so good to at least see him back in the lineup. Kelly Olynyk knocked down a 3. Afterwards, Matt Devlin said that's why he's so valuable. That 3 cut the lead to 42. Chris Boucher, there's some really bad turnovers, just a couple of mistakes. I'm kind of just lost in the sauce here. Bruno, we haven't seen him play for weeks at a time. Seems like his time probably up at an end. Seems like a good vibes guy, though. When the Hawks came into town, a lot of guys were hugging Bruno and having a great laugh with him. So he's a great vibes guy that you always have that. Jamison Battle knocked down a bunch of threes. He actually, honestly, he's probably getting one of my stars again. Mobo, he's been demoted now to since Kelly's come back and Jakob's been healthy. Mobo's barely played. And I think he's probably hit a bit of a rookie wall. His finishing around the basket has really been struggling. Tonight, 6 minutes in garbage time, didn't get a rebound. Pretty much zeros across the board. He had one turnover, but basically this is the Sam Mitchell speech of 0-0-0s. Bruce Brown, he's been really lively. He's tipping his cap after knocking down a 3 against the Celtics. Ultimately had 6 points in 2 of 7. Always Shamshay comes in, caught an alley-oop, missed it, but somehow it dropped in. So that's his basket. AJ Lawson had some open threes, couldn't knock those down. And then Jamal Shed, 2 of 10 in 25 minutes. I mean, there's just very little point guard production just overall. Raptors couldn't get into their offense, and Boston just bombed a 3 or just had a lot of talented creators. It is what it is. Last thing before we get to the questions after the break, I wanted to just shine a... Honestly, I think I just want to express sympathy. I actually want to express sympathy with pretty much everyone involved. I've already expressed sympathy earlier this week with Darko, because we can get on Darko's case. Is he getting through the players? Whatever. Like, I don't even want to have that debate today. I'm sure you guys can have it in the chat all you want. To me, I just feel bad. I really just feel bad for him. He's clearly a guy who gives a lot of effort into this, pours himself into this, wears it, has to talk to the media the most. Although, honestly, these days, even on the road, I mean, that's how you know the Raptors are not a winning team. And that's how you know the Raptors are sliding in organizational. Like, in the past, like, when the Raptors would play on the road, you would have a reporter from Sportsnet, reporter from TSN, reporter from Toronto Star, reporter from The Athletic, maybe 1 or 2 other reporters, but like probably 5. Let's say 5 beat writers would be covering this team, like game after game after game. And obviously you've had, not just the Raptors slide, but obviously the media industry, if you haven't heard the news, is like really, backsliding as well. Quite frankly, to me, is also a lot of these corporations are just cheaping out. But then again, like, also understand, like, the Raps are losing by 50. Like, do I need to send somebody to Boston for that, right? Especially on New Year's Eve. It's not like reporters are like begging to put up their hands, like, yo, I want to be away from my family on New Year's Eve so I can see this in person. But we usually have like 5, maybe between 5 and 10. Honestly, well, near the playoffs, you probably have 10, right? These days, when it's post game, like when Darko got ejected and it was Pat Delaney who went to the post game, it's just Savannah there. And she's there as part of the broadcast. And today in Boston, I'll have to confirm with Savannah, but it'll probably just be Savannah there again. Even the outlets are saying, we don't need to. We don't need. We're good. We're good. And the Raptors, on their front, with this digital team, they used to upload all their press conferences, regardless of what happened, onto YouTube. Even last year when the Raptors lost a whole bunch of games, 15-game losing streak, they still put the YouTube compilation and put it out there on their own channel. And, people can at least hear from the players. You don't even see that anymore. The way you got to find the Raptors press conference interviews is you got to go to raptors.com, then find a drop-down menu and news and notes, and then one of them says video. Then you got to wait on there. And it's a very clunky web player that seems like 20 years old at this point. But given how much the internet has progressed, that's how you got to find these press conferences between the players and one person that the team has paid to go on the road trips, right? So in any case, I feel bad for Darko because I feel like he's trying everything possible. He's in a difficult moment. I'm sure he tries to discuss things, but even motivationally, I don't know if the Raptors look like that lifted, that ready to go game after game. That's just a human thing. So I feel sympathy for Darko first and foremost. I feel sympathy a lot in this game for Matt Devlin and Alvin Williams, both guys who I'm love Matt, love Alvin. These guys have shown me a lot of love in my career. Obviously, I used to have them on the show when I worked at Sportsnet. It still had Matt at least this year as well. It was a really fun interview. More than anything else, they're just like really great people to work with, really great people behind the scenes who, are very generous with their time. And they know how much, affection I have for those guys. And that's why I have so much sympathy for the jobs that they got to do. And I know I'm sure there's lots of people who deserve sympathy for their jobs. There's a lot worse jobs than having to travel first class and cover a basketball team in the NBA. But at the same time, every time it's a blowout, like it's a 40-point blowout heading into the fourth quarter, and finding anything to say, because you can't just like not say anything. Like you just have to force a conversation. And even at times, it's also like, obviously the team owns the broadcasting station, right? They own eventually Roger's going to own everything, all of MLSE, all the Raptors. So they got to say something. Like, you got to say something. And of course, like, they're almost like speaking on behalf of the org at times. And when you hear things like, and this is just me disagreeing with them, but like when they say things like next year they can definitely be in the play-in for sure, and then Jordan Walsh literally hits the three to make it a 48-point game. You can go back; it's in the fourth quarter. It's around like middle of the fourth quarter, where Jordan Walsh hit a three to make it 48, and the conversation was next year they're definitely in the play-in. It's just not the time. It's just not the time. Like, and I don't know who's hearing that and saying like, yep, I totally agree. Like, it's just, I know this team's been unfortunate. We kind of said the same thing last year, right? Like last year when the Raptors probably suffered their previous worst franchise loss, right, which was 48 points in April. You could probably go back to that game and look at the conversations where like, well, next year with the bill of health, they're definitely going to be in the play-in at least, and building, and you add another pick and whatever. Like, this at the rate that it's going right now, it doesn't look like a 1 year, 2 year thing. Like if Scottie was showing me like all-star, superstar performances night after night, and they're pushing like crazy, and they just keep losing by like 5, 6 points at the end there, then I'm like, yeah, okay, you know what? Actually, a couple things happen here or there, a couple breaks. Like I could see that jump happening. When it's like this, when the struggle looks this bad, it doesn't feel like just even playing is right out on the corner. And honestly, the East is getting better. Like Atlanta, like they've gotten a lot better. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, regardless, whatever. Why am I talking about playing? Literally, Masai is also infamous for saying play in for what? As he tanked the first time, which by the way, they are trying to also call this year one of their rebuild, which technically this is, a rebuild now where this is the year one where they don't have Pascal and OG. But year one of the rebuild, I remember in Tampa, they were saying, play in for what? Through Zoom. That was 2021. It's about to 2025. In a couple hours, it'll be 2025. And we're going to be here with a straight face calling this year one of a rebuild. What was last year then? Last year, clearly, they were trying to rebuild. So this year's year one of the rebuild. I feel like we're just moving goalposts, really, right? Next year, we're going to make the play-in. Jamison Battle's a huge piece. Like these are real things that you're hearing in the fourth quarters. And again, that's why I sympathize, because like, obviously they can't be on here like I'm on here, right? Like they can't, they really can't. And maybe they disagree. Maybe they disagree with me now. I'm obviously happy to have these conversations. I'm not calling them out. My point is, I just disagree. And I think probably anybody who, well, not anybody, a lot of people who watched a 54-point blowout doesn't look at it and say, well, the light is right around the corner. I think they're going to need to take a lot of steps. They're going to need to draft amazing in the next couple of years. They're going to need to bite the bullet and say goodbye to these veterans. Anybody who can get you a pick, get them gone, get the picks, get some young prospects in here. They'll probably continue to drop for a couple more years. Honestly, my hope coming into the season was their talent on paper is okay. Like they're not Washington Wizards level talent on paper, but the record is Washington Wizards level of wins and losses. Go look it up. Raptors are half a game up on Washington. I thought the talent level on paper was good enough to at least be better than what it is. And that's where I think Matt and Alvin are kind of pointing to as well. But also at the same time, if Scottie's not making this all NBA level jump, if RJ is making a jump but also still has like some pretty notable drawbacks, if IQ's not even, how many games has IQ played in the year 2024 for real? Like IQ's, you know what I mean? Like, so, and then of course, if they move Yak, like they need to find another Yak. Yak is like, the way Boston was guarding them, Boston was saying Yak is your best player. That's how we're going to guard him. Because I feel like Yak saw more doubles when he saw the ball versus when Scottie did. But like that's going to take a couple of years. And you know what? I think it's okay to sit with that as well. Like the Raptors, they kind of need to start over from scratch. Like they're kind of saying that already, really. But like when you see the results, it's just like, it's a 54-point loss. I said I wasn't going to try to go through all these reasons again. It is what it is. Raptors lose. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to get some of your questions, and then we're going to bring in Alex Wong, who I have assigned last minute here to prepare for unfortunate moments of 2024 as a Raptor fan, because we are signing off to truly, truly, truly one of the darkest years in franchise history. But we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with some of your questions. We want to take a quick break in the podcast to let you know about a really exciting event that's coming in the new year. Our friends at Bell are bringing back Bell Gaming Night in 2025 on January 2nd at Scotiabank Arena, and all of Hello Welcome's podcast listeners are invited. Whether you're a casual gamer or a hardcore pro, there's something for everyone at Bell Gaming Night. Not only will you be able to play and watch with your friends, but you can do so right on the Scotiabank Arena court. Also, if you think you got game, this is your chance to compete at a tournament. Or even if you're not playing, there's lots of giveaways and prizes to be won. So come check out Bell Gaming Night on January 2nd from 3 to 10 p.m. Tickets are only $12, and proceeds will go to the MLSE Foundation in support of youth and mental health. However, as a special gift to all Hello Welcome podcast listeners, you can use the link below to get free tickets to the Bell Gaming Night. So make sure you follow that link that you see here on the screen or the link in the description to the episode. We'll see you there on January 2nd, and thanks to Bell, being a Raptor fan just got better.
Hey, man.
Hey, buddy.
Just recently hit the big 4-0. What about you, bro?
A little more recently 4-0, but we are both in the 40 club.
Let me tell you, man, being an adult really comes with its share of challenges.
Definitely. I think both you and I are homeowners, and I think we're both also dealing with mortgages in life.
Yeah, man. Mortgage rates, choosing the right terms, dealing with paperwork. It can be really overwhelming,
I still don't know how that works.
Well, listen. That's where our friends at Dominion Lending Centers come in, man. They make the whole process simple and stress-free. Whether you're renewing your mortgage, hunting for the best rates, or if you just need advice, they're here to help, bro.
You know what? I am looking for that advice, and I think that's why I'm going to visit www.dominionlending.ca.
Yeah, man. www.dominionlending.ca. Take the guesswork out of your mortgage and step into financial confidence with our friends at Dominion Lending by our side.
All right, it is time now for the Tangerine Q&A segment. It is time now for the Tangerine Fan Inbox, and Tangerine is the official bank of the Toronto Raptors, foundational partner of WNBA and NBA Canada. And of course, they're not just fans of basketball, they're fans of basketball. They're fans of fans who have their own nickname for each guy in the starting five, fans who stand 5 inches from the TV all game, or fans who can recreate every player's layup package while sitting on their couch. If you're hearing this, there's no doubting your commitment. Fans like you are at the heart of what makes this game great. So this year, for the Raptors' 30th season, Tangerine is turning the spotlight from the court to the stands to celebrate the way Raptor fans support their team, because this is how we fan. To learn more, visit tangerine.ca/basketball. Alex, what we got? What do we have? First one from Mike. How come Masai and Bobby are forever Teflon? This is just unacceptable. Actually, you know what? This is a good question in the sense that, like, I actually would love to hear from Masai and Bobby at some point. Obviously, the trade deadline is coming up, and, you know, there's going to be more to be answered, and their actions will be more important than sort of what they say. But part of me does feel like, yeah, like, okay, trotting Darko out there at game after game, practice after practice, and he has to sort of make, you know, the best of what's happening right now. Like, I'm at this point, even as a reporter, I'm a little bit tired of hearing from Darko, because again, like, I feel bad for Darko. Like, I actually need to hear from where management ultimately stops and where it ultimately comes to an end. I don't see necessarily a big PR spin or push that you can really ultimately make. And don't forget that these press conferences are mostly that, not necessarily to inform, they're just to sort of spin. But at the same time, it's like, if you're taking L's, like, your boss kind of has to answer for it, right? Like, if your whole company has, like, you know, done what the Raptors done the last couple of years, which is just like, you know, lose after lose after lose, quarter after quarter, like, at a certain point, the shareholders got a right to talk to, you know, the person who's in charge, like the CEO of this thing. So, like, I actually would love to hear from Masai and Bobby about this. I mean, I do think Masai in particular has, like, a great way of sort of, like, explaining himself and being honest. Again, honest within a realm of trying to spin, but still, like, yeah, I would actually love to hear from them. I don't even know what they would say. But I think that, actually, I don't even know what they would say. That's the other part too. But, you know, yeah, I mean, they are look, I still don't think that, like, you're going to upgrade from the front office in the sense that, like, you're not going to get better people who are in terms of drafting people, in terms of filling this team with talent, but also at the same time, like, I don't think they're forever Teflon. Like, honestly, that's why I thought this year was a big year for them. Not in the sense of wins and losses, but not only do their young, like, core in Barnes, Barrett, and Quickly, these guys have to look really great. I think Barrett's probably looked the best this season. But we've all expected him coming into the season as the number 3. IQ, we haven't even seen him. That's not his fault. That's not the front office's fault. That's just whatever, injuries happen. And then Scottie, I think the most hope was when you put all this hope onto him, he's got the most to deliver on. And in these kind of moments, like, you just, you're seeing that it's not happening, or that the capability isn't there, or whatever you want to say. Like, again, like, you could put whatever injuries, I'm not saying what it, honestly, it was what it is. So, yeah, they needed a big year from these guys, and they needed a big year from Darko. They needed a big year from the rookies. The rookies have, generally speaking, given them good efforts, but they're still rookies. Like tonight, they were all pretty terrible, right? So, yeah, they're probably not gonna be tough on for that much longer. I'll say that much. Anyway, let's go for the next question here. In games like this, what are they even learning and developing? I don't know. I actually don't know. I think, like, we can be honest. Like, you don't really learn anything from losing by 50. Like, I don't think this is developmental reps. I mean, like, maybe on some level there's developmental in terms of, like, okay, Scottie's playing point, and but also it's like maybe developmental is like maybe year over year, maybe week over week, month over month, you're seeing progress. I don't think the team in the macro sense, in terms of as a team, is making progress. It's not like, okay, they had turnover issues to start, they had fouling issues to start the year. They keep fouling guys throughout the whole season. They have turnover issues throughout the year. They keep setting records for turnovers. They have defensive issues over the course of the year. Their defense is getting worse, if not, they're supposed to get, the whole point of this season was the big promise was we're gonna be really good defensively, or like we're gonna try a lot harder. We're gonna really focus defensively. Their defense is still bad. Like look at what's happening, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think more than anything else, the organization and the players and the coaches, they have to try to stay positive, but also like, there's a thin line between staying positive and being a little delusional. And right now, we in order to stay positive, you got to be a little delulu. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think you learn any or develop in a game like this. I just don't think so. I think you flush it because like you don't have a good takeaway after a game like this. I'm not gonna come here and lie to you. I'm just not gonna do that. Next one from Galvin. Positive franchise record set tonight. Raptors 2-0 on coaches challenges. Way to go. Way to go. Honestly, they were 2-0 on coaching challenges. That's actually been pretty rare this season. So I'm not even gonna be sarcastic. That was good. Darko Rajakovic wins a huge challenge to cut the lead to 42. Okay, next one. Jordan. What's up, Jordan? Wemby might actually have a Wilt Chamberlain game against us, and I must be there to witness. Every time I look at Wemby and the Spurs, I kind of feel a little bit bad for Jakob, because like when the Raptors were good and when they were about to win the championship, they traded Jakob, and so Jakob missed out on the championship. And then when he went to the Spurs, obviously they were rebuilding, so they were having like 20-win seasons. Then when the Spurs were on the cusp of getting good and getting Wemby, he gets traded to Toronto, and then Toronto goes in the tank, and the Spurs are really fun and exciting. I feel like we're trapping Jakob, man. Honestly, Jakob is one of our best players. He's shown it so many times this season. I also just feel bad. Like honestly, on a karmic level, I feel like we should let Jakob go at a future point, just so he can be on a winning team again, because he's too good of a player to keep having to be in these situations, man. But yeah, I mean, Wemby might have a Wilt Chamberlain game against us. It all depends on how many threes he hits, but I mean, I think Wemby could probably easily have a 40-piece on us, no problem. Next one from Assad. Are they a worse team? No. Are they a worse team than they were in October? Performance-wise, yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of that is, the injuries that have racked up. Like, I don't want to ignore the fact that you don't have IQ, no RJ, no Grady, right? But also over the course of the season, we've seen like a really brilliant start from Grady. That's happening really rarely now. A lot of other guys are back in the lineup. Most importantly, teams are figuring out, okay, Grady's going to be super aggressive. Defenses are changing. That's taking a lot away from him. Defensively, I feel like he's getting worse as well. Ochai's really been on a downward slide the last couple of weeks, right? And I don't know if teams are figuring out Ochai, but they're not leaving him open for a three as much in the corner, right? And also, I feel like he's just not converting as much. That's a bit of that's fatigue. Injuries have cropped up, but also, yeah, they're not nearly as competitive. At the start of the season, like the episodes didn't look like this. The games didn't look like this, right? They were like, we're talking about ethical tanking or whatever. I mean, I don't know what this is, bro. I don't know what this is. It's not ethical tanking. This is like the seventh circle of hell right now. So it's Dante's Inferno or whatever. Any more questions from the chat? Next one from Charlie. Why isn't Mobo getting playing time instead of Kelly? I actually think that, like, okay, first off, to be clear, I think Kelly is a better player than Jonathan Mobo at this point in their career. Kelly obviously offensively does a lot for this team, or has the ability to do a lot for this team. Having said that, though, and most importantly, I just don't feel like Kelly looks physically ready to play basketball at a high level in the NBA. I would never say Kelly was like an overwhelming athlete. He just wasn't, right? He got by with the skill and all that kind of stuff and the size. But like, man, it feels really tough right now watching Kelly operate physically. He's talked about how, one day he woke up with a back issue and he doesn't know when it'll crop back up, but he's kind of playing through it. That's a lot of 34-year-olds. A lot of 34-year-olds, you'll go up to my ass like, what happened? When did you hurt your back? And he's like, I didn't. I just woke up and my back hurt. That's Kelly right now. And physically, Mobo clearly has more to give physically. However, Mobo is he's such a wall offensively right now that like I think Mobo just needs like, I feel like the whole team just needs 2 weeks of just a reset. Like this team needs the All-Star break more than any team I've ever covered. Like this is it's tough. They need a little time off, like just to reset, get some energy, refocus, and but I think that's why Kelly's back. If you want to put the conspiracy theories out there, you can also say that the Raptors are trying to showcase some of the older players that I think that's an undeniable part of what happens around this time. I can't say for sure that they're showcasing Kelly and Boucher and Bruce, but I also don't think that that's an unlikely scenario either. I just can't say that for sure though. But yeah, those are the questions. Appreciate it. We're gonna bring producer Alex onto the show. So Alex, we know that 2024 is coming to an end here, and we know that there have been a lot of moments.
Yo, why am I dressed like you?
Yeah. What's
going
man?
on?
You and I both love gray sweaters. What can I
Yeah,
say?
damn, man. Yeah, what's going on? Worst moments of 2024.
Do you want to do a quick draft? Do you want to just list them off? Like, what do you got for us? Because I put you on this assignment like 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, you put me on the assignment. I didn't have time to listen to Sean Woodley and Vivek Jacobs' best, worst, and surprises on Locked On Raptors in time.
Sick.
To completely copy from them. So I actually had to do this off the dome. So why don't I present to you some of these moments?
All right, let's
and
go.
You can tell me if there's any that's missing. Number 1, April 17th, Jonte Porter banned for life for gambling on himself with the Raptors.
I think that has to be the worst thing that happened to the Raptors in 2024. I know that's funny because like it's just the third string center, but I remember being in the arena that day and the news broke. The game was about 7:30. The news broke around 5. I think Woj tweeted it out around 5. And I just remember the press officer for the Raptors running out, like the head of PR, like Jennifer Quinn, running out, scampering, and trying to corral everybody around the organization down the tunnel. Like they're all going through warm-ups and stuff. She's just like, get inside. Because like, I don't think anybody should have been in a position to speak on that situation. Because it was so, not just like sensitive in terms of like NBA-wise, it was sensitive legally in that time. So I just remember that panic, and I remember like everybody looking down on their phone and then their energy changing. That's top one. I mean, what's the latest on Jonte that he might serve court time, like or jail time? Like, damn, bro.
Yeah,
is he gonna be the same jail as Luigi and Diddy? Because that's a crazy jail that they're building Arkham over there.
We're not having that conversation right now. Next up, just the is it Jalen or Jaden? I keep getting it messed up.
Jalen
McDaniels experience, including him after the Raptors traded everybody. Somehow he was the one who shot technical free throws in Denver.
Yeah. That's how you know the Raptors weren't serious at all the last couple of years, is like anybody can shoot the technical free throws. Like I know we have like Scottie shoots it when Grady's on the floor. Why does that happen? I mean, you got to know that's part of the pecking order, you know what I mean? Like when you're the franchise guy, if you say you want that, when you're the top dog, everyone's just going to let you have that. But it's a real problem when Jalen McDaniels shoots that technical free throw. I think people got to remember how bad Jalen was. Like Jalen is not in the NBA right now. He literally walked around looking like he was like, just out of it, mentally, physically, whatever. It was some of the worst basketball. There's one play where I think him and Precious lined up in the exact same corner. Like, we talk about spacing and like guys should be in the corners. They should have specified to Jalen that he should be in the other corner. Like 2 guys shouldn't be in the exact same corner standing side by side.
Yeah, he was so bad. The Raps. Who did the Raps trade him for? They got Davion Mitchell.
We got Davion.
They got Sasha Vezenkov to.
Oh yeah,
to
Sasha Vezenkov, right?
So
Sasha
money.
was like, "Nah, dog, I don't."
He was so
I'll
bad.
take a $0 buyout to not play for the Raptors, and he was right.
the fan base was celebrating like this was a Kawhi Leonard level fleece, just because they got rid of McDaniels. Quick one here. Raptors official account having to delete an MLK tweet. We won't get into that, but if you see it in the year-end countdowns on Twitter, you'll know which one I'm referring to.
Oh,
Once again,
my
I was
goodness.
Once again I was under a lot of pressure to deliver this. Next is
For people who didn't know, so sometimes you can post a super big photo, but like cut it into 4 quadrants and post it as a slideshow. And that doesn't work with Twitter because Twitter will auto-populate all 4 pictures to you at once. And when you put it together, it was just literally MLK in the crosshairs for no reason. Come on, bro.
Once again, it didn't need to be.
Come on, bro.
If we can move the dates a little bit,
Sure.
this was December 30th.
Yeah,
of last year.
I'll allow it. Yeah.
Raps trade OG Anunoby, and then Pistons snap 28-game losing streak against them. And this was the context
Oh my
was
God.
for
Yep.
I think for like 3 weeks everybody was circling the Raptors game as the game that Detroit was going to win.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
it was
yeah,
so
yeah.
obvious to a point. It's like it almost felt like it wasn't like it was too good to be true, and then it was just actually true.
Yeah.
And the Pistons was able to beat the Raptors.
20-game losing streak, as you mentioned. That game, not only were the Pistons beating us, but it was who on the Pistons? Because like whatever, if Cade cooks you for like 50 points, you just gotta say hats off, whatever. I remember that game. Like Kevin Knox was killing us, bro. Like
Yeah, not Kevin Knox.
Kevin Knox,
16 Knicks draft picks ago.
Bogdanovich was killing us in that game. I feel like Alec Burks. I feel like spiritually Alec Burks was involved in that one. Isaiah Stewart. Yeah, that one Raptors lose. That one they snapped the 28-game losing streak. I remember that game. Pascal and Dennis Schroeder desperately trying to will the team forward, and I was like, guys, I respect your competitiveness, but like it's over. It's over here. It was over for both of those guys very soon, shortly thereafter. But
Yeah. Here's a combination poo-poo platter. Let's see if you remember these 3 games
let's go.
from last season. The second half of last season.
Okay.
February 5th, 38-point loss at home against New Orleans.
I remember that game. A friend of mine, a friend of both of ours, who has like really good tickets, like basically 2 tickets that were like 10 rows up, and like basically sit close to where like Bobby sits, right, in the crowd. And he was like, "Hell, man, I couldn't move this ticket." He was like, "I got a free."
I think I was offered tickets to this game.
Yeah, I think he
I
offered
left
it to
my
both of us.
job.
He's like, this is a ticket that on typically face value, probably like 300, 400, 500 of LeBron's in town. You know what I mean? Like, just for free, bro. Just for free. Please, could you take it? And I remember coming down and sitting with the people. I think I ultimately gave it to 2 friends of mine. And I remember going down there to visit them and just watching it. And it was like, yeah, a 40-point blowout. Zion was killing us. Trey Murphy was killing us. Jose Alvarado was stealing the ball. That was the game where Jalen McDaniels had like 4 turnovers in the 4th quarter too. Like that was crazy, bro.
Yeah, so the combination with this, so in March, they lose by 44 at home to the Knicks.
Yep, a lot of Javon Freeman Liberty in that one. But that was, I think, it still stands, a record that still stands, is that's the worst margin of a loss for the Raptors in franchise history at home. That's the worst home record they've ever had, was losing by 44 to the Knicks. Yep.
Yeah, and then about 6 days later, in April, they go to Minnesota and lose by 48.
Yep, that one I remember so vividly because Raptors only had 7 available players by that point. They were playing Garrett Temple at center, and we were talking to Garrett, obviously, as part of the Raptor show last year. Well, you weren't around for that portion, but that's how it was going. And yeah, we were like, Garrett, bro, what's it like playing center for the first time in your 15, 16-year career? And he's like, yo, this team's crazy. Like, I've never been a part of a season like this. Well, the following season is very much like this. But that game, they were so shorthanded on bodies. They signed Malik Williams, who was averaging like maybe 13 and 10 in the G League. They signed him like basically off the street and started him right away against the Timberwolves, who were really good last year.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the box score, so I guess this is the M. Williams, who went 31 minutes, 0 for 7 from the field, and a minus 24. Damn.
He would have
That's a
fit right in
Draymond
today,
move.
man. We could have
Yeah.
used Malik Williams today.
Wow, we had Jordan Nora off the bench, 30 minutes.
Jordan Wara is now
14
playing in
points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists.
Turkey. Yep.
K. Simmons? Is this Kobe?
Kobe Simmons, bro. How do you not
Yeah.
remember Kobe Simmons?
Kobe Simmons.
Kobe. We got Kobe last year. We got Kobe this year, man.
We had JFL.
Just for
game
laughs,
this
baby.
game was just for laughs. Minus 36 in 27 minutes.
Bro, what do you want them to do? We got JFL. They got Anthony Edwards, bro.
Unbelievable. Let's see what
Yep.
else.
What else we got from this year?
Raptors finally win 3 in a row. I believe this was in
Oh,
February.
the pizza party.
and the defining storyline from last season is Darko promising dinner after a 3-game win streak and all the pizza party stuff. How far have we fallen?
This is actually the best thing that happened to me, maybe, with the Raptors this year, because north of Brooklyn, who run a great, there's a pizza chain across the city, just really good pizza in general. One of the co-founders, Alex, is actually like a big fan of the program, big Raptor fan. And he was like, Will, I want to give you a free pizza party. And so I was actually able to arrange for north of Brooklyn to provide like 5 pizzas to the Fan 590 station.
This is
and
when
was able to
Aaron
feed the whole
Rose.
station.
This is when Aaron Rose got into the chat on Twitter and was like, "Yo, can I get a slice too?" And everyone's like, "Yo, fuck out of here!" No, shouts to Aaron Rose, bro.
Yo, shouts to Aaron, bro. I don't know why you caught a wild stray.
I think
What's
he just sent
going
like
on, bro?
I think he just sent like the eyes emojis.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Nah, not Aaron Rose begging for a slice of vodka verde."
Hey, I'm not too high to not beg for a vodka verde because those are really good. But yeah, basically, Raptors finally got their 3-game win streak. The funniest thing too, again, involving Raps PR, was the next day at practice they gave us some pizza. I'm not gonna name the company, but it wasn't like pizza. It was like actually like a good pizza chain.
Yeah.
They brought the pizza in. They were like, here, so that we could finally kill the joke.
Oh man. Yeah, maybe the Raptors. We should start tracking this.
Yeah.
Let's see if the Raptors can win 3 straight quarters.
Ooh.
Right now, because it's been a bit.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, that's tough.
Let's see what else.
What up?
Just in general, this is a quickie, but like, I think a reporter asked Darko like, how are you gonna start winning on the road? And he was like, swag, and they're currently 1-15 on the road. Yeah.
He
And
did say
everything that he
that.
talked
It was a friend of the program, Josh Lewinberg, who I know you love a lot.
Yeah.
And I do too. Shouts to Josh. And Josh asked him, I think this is before they went to Miami, right before the play-in, the Cup game. So like, what do you got to do to win on the road? Because like basically you haven't won on the road. And he said, swag. We got to make sure that he said I'm gonna go check on the team and make sure we all pack it in our bags with us when we go down to Miami.
Well, they've been packing light because I don't think they've won a road game since. Yeah. Because they won that one against New Orleans, and that's
Quite frankly, I don't consider them having won a road game all season.
Well, they haven't won in general since December 2nd, so I guess we don't need to fact check that.
No win since Jay-Z's birthday, dog.
Oh, brother, we gotta skip that too.
For Raptors or for Jay-Z.
October 23rd, opening night, 30th anniversary season.
Amazing.
Purple, court jerseys.
Hey, don't forget, bro.
All of this stuff.
TJ Ford
was in the building. And by the time he was shooting cannons, like shooting T-shirts out of cannon, by the end of the third, half the crowd had left. Raptors, franchise worst opening night performance, 30-point loss to the Cavs.
Bro, we got to track how many franchise records this team has set, man.
I think Liban was the one who tweeted this, but it was like a 30 for 30, losing by 30 on. How's he still allowed in the arena? No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
October 23rd, opening night. Not that there were huge expectations, but it's like, hey, listen, starting a new season,
In case you were excited, don't get excited.
Yeah,
of course, the Raptors did.
Bruce Brown bought cowboy boots for everybody. They're dancing to Afro beats. Chemistry levels is high.
Yep.
Vibes are good. Everybody loves to talk about vibes are good.
What about
here's
the
some
fact that
vibes for you.
What about the
30-point
chain,
L.
bro? What about the chain? They hand out the chain the next game.
30-point L incoming. Oh yeah, and the chain.
The chain.
Yeah, the chain as well.
Bro, that
most
chain
recently,
is not seen use, bro. That chain.
I mean, Kirtika has been putting out these stats. I think I think she put one out tonight that the Raptors have trailed by 30 in like the last 4 games.
4 straight games of down 30.
Yeah, so
I mean,
that's a
in all
footnote.
fairness, they played some really good teams. Because those are NBA teams, so they've been down 32.
Yeah, but also funny during this sequence. One of the most embarrassing, worst moments for me was when Davion Mitchell lost his shoe at the end of the Memphis game recently, and then John Morant at the end of the first half like threw it into the stands.
Bro, that was the Iraq reporter to George W. Bush.
And then
the war on terror.
Yeah, I hear this joke twice.
Yeah, sorry.
And then who was he guarding? Was he guarding Desmond Bane?
Yeah, he locked up downhill.
Yes, he locked up Desmond Bane to end the first half. The Raps bench run over to Davion Mitchell to celebrate. And it's like, guys, you just gave up 71 points in the first half, and you're on your way to giving up 155 points against Memphis. Why are we celebrating the shoeless Joe lockdown?
Well, but this is the thing.
That's when I kind of lost it on this team in terms of like, come on, we got to be a little bit more serious.
That should be a good question, actually. What broke you? Because for you,
yeah,
it's
like
shoe.
but it's just like I got to be a little bit more serious. Like,
Shoe broke you.
Like I'm not like, I'm cool like celebrating, bench vibes are good and all this stuff, but when you give up 71 points on the road and you're like on a double-digit losing streak, you can't just be like celebrating like the games don't matter or something. Yeah. Whatever. Cooper Flag. Yeah. Whatever. Cooper Flag, guys. We're gonna get Cooper.
Yo, it was
Flag.
a dark 2024, man. It just was a dark 2024. Bro.
I think that's about it. Those are really all the ones that I had. I don't know if I missed anything.
I think we can leave all these in the previous year. Hopefully next year brings just better health. You know what I mean? Not to sound like every Chinese cheers or fortune or whatever, but just we need to health and fortune for everybody involved with the Raptors. Because you guys, honestly, I'm starting to feel bad for the Raps, man. I'm genuinely starting to feel bad for the players. I feel bad for the players. I feel bad for the coach. Like it is what it is. Why you showing me UTA on the street, bro? What was on that paper?
Wait, was that? Oh, yeah, my bad.
Oh, UTA.
No, I was looking for. Yeah, I was looking for. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, we got $5.
Oh, we got $5
from.
Yo, that's not the first time Top Shot sent us $5, man.
Shout out to Top Shot Tesla.
Over under
half 0.5 slander pods for 2025. I believe because the rule is they have to be over 500. Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
The other part is, do you think Darko has the ability to hold Scottie accountable? Don't know who is inside the org, keeping him honest. It's a fair question. Totally fair question. And if I answer it, I get in trouble. So, not to sound like Jose Mourinho, but,
All right.
Yeah. But in any case, I appreciate the 5. And I think slander pods, like, we're basically doing slander pods on the Raps at this point, man. Like, I hate this. Yo, I hate it here. I sound like Jaden Smith. In the Kung Fu Kid, yo. I hate it here.
Someone did say, remember when you and Alex mentioned how it would be like to cover the Charlotte Hornets? Well, I like that it's spelled the Charlotte Hornet. I would love to cover one Charlotte Hornet.
By the way, the Charlotte Hornets and Detroit Pistons both above the Raps.
Yeah. Well, we're only ahead of the Wizards, I believe. Remember how you and Alex mentioned what it would be like to cover the Charlotte Hornets or the Detroit Pistons? Yeah. Have we finally arrived to that status? So, yeah, I think we used to joke. Yeah. When the Raptors were like, I think like when Pascal and OG were still here and they're like fighting for play-in, and we're like, yeah, it could be worse, it's not the championship, but like imagine having to wake up every day and do a show about the Charlotte Hornets.
Locked on Hornets? Bro, we locked on. We locked on Raptors right now.
I mean, yeah, this is it's not fun when the games don't really matter.
How can we make it more fun next game? If we know they're going to lose anyway, can I see Jakob Poeltl take transition threes instead?
Yeah, I don't know what that's going to do. Like, they're still going to lose by 40, Yeah. Oh,
by the way, look at this, bro.
Yeah,
hold on. No, this one.
Don't remember when this was. Yeah, Alex, I got your book for a Secret Santa.
Amazing.
Yeah, shouts, man. You guys, Sportsnet put out a great first part of their documentary recently. Yeah. Raptors Delight, about the start of the Raptors franchise. If you guys want to actually learn more about that, pick up Prehistoric.
Oh,
yo, you know what's out?
Eat off of Sportsnet again.
Out is promoting a book you put out 2 years ago.
Yeah, fair enough. But
promoting is just weird. It's a great book, though. You should check it out.
You should check it out. It's right behind your head. that purple book, prehistoric.
But
Alex Wong.
I don't know. It is tough. It is tough when the team is rebuilding, and you're looking at it like there's still like 50 games left in the season. Like, damn, you know.
My only thing is, like, all jokes aside, like, I'm fine with losing, but just give me like losing with purpose, like young players available, ready to play, and giving their best effort. And hopefully over the course of the season, you see some growth and some progress. And I think that's why no one really complained at the start of the year. Like, they lost a lot of close games, whatever, but like no one was really complaining. Everyone was like, I'm so happy with the ethical tank. The reason people are turning sour now is because it feels like they're going nowhere and they're kind of like pulling the plug on themselves.
Well, it's pretty embarrassing to be
That's
losing
all.
by like 40 plus a night,
Yeah.
man.
Like, I tweeted out today, like, yo, if you're still watching Raptor games right now, what are you watching and what are you hoping to see? And I got hundreds of responses. And the
Please
funniest,
don't.
the one
Please
with the
don't
most
read them.
likes is
Movies?
your tweet about the jerseys.
Yeah, because this is the new slogan. The jerseys, though. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
we
Raps
got
lose by 40, but oh my God. It's the Raptor mascot as Vince Carter at the dunk contest.
yeah.
Look at how beautiful this court is. Like, it ain't right.
Yeah,
If
well,
you have good
know.
replies, though, you should save them for a future episode.
You know what? Let's do that, actually. Let's do that because we're going to be back to regular scheduled programming. If you haven't already, go check out the December Banter Pod. It's great because we don't talk Raptors in that one. We gave you some life talk. We gave you some ins and outs, what we're going to leave behind in 2024, what's going to be in for 2025. It's just a fun time, man. So I appreciate, honestly, I wouldn't rather go through a tanking season with anybody else other than you and Jerome. So
Well, I just don't want to go through a tanking season.
well, we're here, dog. What do you want? Why do we launch this whole pod if you don't want to be here for a rebuild, bro?
Stop crashing out.
Nah, seriously, it is what it is. But
It's year one,
hopefully
baby. It's year one of the rebuild.
It's year one. Only people who say it's year one of the rebuild is you, me, and Jerome here at Hello and Welcome. That's all we can really say. I'm not trying to hear no year one of the rebuild. Why did I watch Aaron Baines start at center then? What is that? What year was that?
I love the running storyline of you updating people on how media don't go on the road anymore.
Bro, I'm just
Are
saying.
you just like, yo, the media are good? They're like, we're good in the East End. We're staying home. We're good in the East.
Yo, again, some of that is really just like media companies are cutting down budgets. They're trying to cut corners where they can, whatever.
Well, stats like I'm good in the East.
Like, they still go to Raps games sometimes, but like these days on the road, like,
Man.
I'm just saying, it's just like it's either Kayla or Savannah having a one-on-one combo with Darko and some select players.
Yeah. Well,
So
best of luck with those guys.
no, come on.
No,
man.
this is to the Raptors, not to the reporters.
Come on, man. Okay. From
all right,
all
let's
of us
get out of
here.
here.
Well, yeah. Happy 2024. Just quickly, your 3 stars. First star from tonight is Alex Wong for hopping on the React Pod here. Second star is the fans for tuning in, and third stars is for Matt and Alvin. Buddy, I'm so sorry. The Gerald Henderson Award winner tonight is just anybody on the Boston Celtics. Let's go with Payton Pritchard. He honestly could just be named by, like, the new
Yo, this guy
Gerald
was
Henderson.
doing Bob Cousy moves at the start of the fourth. Dude. This guy's just like dribbling baseline.
Yo,
And then just like what? Yo, there was one play where he just went to the hoop, he like cupped the ball the whole time and just laid it in. He was like, oopsie
Yo,
doodle.
everyone complains about the Celtics hitting threes. If you took the 3-point line away from the Celtics still blow the Raptors out,
the
bro.
Celtics were so good. They had white guys I've never even recognized before hitting threes in the fourth. I think they had like a number 13.
Yo, Drew, don't call me Jordan Peterson was out there, dog.
Yo, it
tough.
was crazy. I was like, this isn't even this is Sam Hauser's backup's backup. Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
man.
and then they always have number 88 out there just crushing. Like
Not
88
double
is-
happiness.
Yeah, 88 is always out there crushing. Like, I don't get it.
No.
Even their garbage lineups are like kind of sick.
Yo, they come in, they start hooping. Like, they shoot the 3. Like, everybody
Anyways.
from Boston can shoot the 3. It's crazy, bro.
Anyways,
Anyway, yeah, so Gerald Henderson is Payton Pritchard. Your most important guy, which is brought to you by Greta Bar YYZ. Go to Greta Bar YYZ, 590 King Street West. I'm sure you can probably go tonight, actually, for New Year's Eve. But great place to go, pregame, postgame, during the game to watch any live sports. And, of course, it's also great food, great drinks, great atmosphere, great games as well. Because when the Raps lose by 54, you probably want to go switch to just anything else, quite frankly. And honestly, Greta has a lot of the other stuff. So shouts to Greta for sponsoring the program. Most important guy for this game. Do I got to give Jerome a serious one?
Yeah, you chill this week.
Okay, yeah. Well, most important guy is I don't even know, man. Most important guy is Darko, bro. I'm starting to feel so bad for Darko, man. I just appreciate the fact that he's the one who has to put a brave face on through this, and I just hope he gets through 2025 okay. Because honestly, I know that people have like pointed out that I get hard on Darko, and that I think that's fair. But at this point, I don't even want to criticize Darko no more. I just want to give him a hug. Like, it's that bad. Oh, by the way, this is my practice report. The last thing before we go. So we're waiting at practice. They usually go into the scrums. This time they didn't open the gym to us. They just let the Jamal Shad, Garrett Temple, and Darko come to the media room. And the media room has like a table, and it's on like a bit of a podium. So you kind of have to like take a big step to get on the podium first, and then sit down where the chair is. Right? You know what I'm talking about. I'm just
Did
describing
someone
the fans.
fall?
Darko came in and stumbled and almost crashed out physically, getting
bro.
into the podium. And he explained that he had torn his knee
What?
trying to showcase a drill. So this season's so cursed. Even the coach is injured, man.
He's hurt too?
Y'all don't even know. Darko coaching through a bad knee right now. I'm
Yo,
not
that's
even kidding. This is not a joke. And this is not to make fun of Darko, because like I just want this guy to be okay. So most important guy, Darko Rajakovic, buddy. I hope that we can go for a hug and a coffee, and just
Hugging a coffee sounds crazy.
let me take Darko to Propeller Coffee or something, man.
Wants to
Please,
give him a hug
let me
and a
buy you a
coffee?
brew, something.
What are you
man.
doing, man?
Anyway, have a
Happy
safe-
New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, everybody. This has been a tough one. We appreciate you for riding on this journey with us. From myself and Alex
Back tomorrow.
and Jerome. We're back tomorrow. Oh, yeah, Raps are back
Damn it.
tomorrow. We're about to be live and direct. But seriously, thanks everyone for following. And seriously, go have a good night tonight. Forget about the fact that the Raps are what they are, and just come back tomorrow and let's do this all over again. So thanks everyone for everybody. Hit like on the stream for me, please, one time. Hit subscribe on the channel. Write a review, anything you want. But more than anything else, happy holidays from all of us here. And this has been the Hello and Welcome Podcast presented by Betway.